is Vasundhara Bakchi, and I am very excited to welcome you to DeTech Theory's Introduction to Computer Science course. This is Lesson 1. Before we delve into text-based Java, we're going to do something called Scratch just for this lesson, to give you a way to visualize your code and to help you break down your logic into blocks. Scratch is essentially a graphical programming language where we can drag and drop blocks which contain certain instructions. This is especially useful if you're just starting off with computer science, because being able to form your own logic in a step-by-step manner is especially important. And by the end of this lesson, you should hopefully have a pretty good idea on how to do that. All right. You can access Scratch at scratch.mit.edu, and it's completely free. All you have to do is make an account, and you can get started. Click Create in order to create a new project. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, on our left here, we have puzzle pieces that represent functions or variables or other concepts that we can drag and drop onto our instruction area in the center. On our right here, we can basically see the result of these blocks of code that we put together. We're going to start off with the classic in the computer science world. We're going to make our character, or sprite as they're called, say hello world. Okay, to do that, we go to Events, we click our green flag here, and we go to Looks, and we say the say block, and we say hello world. All right, so this means that when we click the green flag, you're going to hear our character say hello world. The when green flag is clicked block is the start of our code. And below it, we've snapped a say block, and we've typed in hello world. And you can see what it does right here. What we can also do is drag in the ask and wait block and ask a question to the users, like, what is your name? To do that, we go to sensing, go down. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's take this out. We go, what's your name? And then we wait for the user to type in an input. And then we can say, whatever the answer is that the user typed in. Let's just put this in and get this block in right here. All right. So it's going to ask you what your name is. And so I'm going to type my name. All right. And then you can see your sprite saying my name. Another thing we can do is nest one block within another. Let's say we want our sprite to say hello person's name. We can do that by saying, okay, first you click when the green flag is clicked, and then you ask the user what your name is, and then you wait. And when the user puts in an answer, instead of saying just the answer, let's take this one out for a second, and we go operators. We can join two things. Say, put this in here. If I say join hello, comma, the answer, we should see, put in my name again. All right, there we go. Hello, Vasundhara. Now that is how we get it. We can also make our character do something a certain number of times without having to write the same piece of code again and again and again. For example, we want our character to say meow 3 times. How do we do that? Okay, so let's go. Let's take this one out for a second and delete it. All right, so we can go to controls and click repeat, and then put it in here. We go repeat 3 times. Then we drag in the say block, and we say, yeah. Okay, but what happens here? You can only see that it says meow stagnant. But why exactly is this happening? So this is happening because the cat is saying meow 3 times at the same time, so you can't really see what's going on. Plus, you don't really ask it to stop saying meow. So what if we change this up a little bit and we say, we get this block out and we say meow for 2 seconds. Let's try that. Doesn't change anything. So All right, so this still doesn't get us the result we want. Okay, so let's put in a wait block here. So we ask it to wait for a second. Right? Okay. So now what we're doing is that we're asking it to repeat it 3 times, to say meow for 2 seconds, wait for a second, say meow again, wait for 1 second, and then say meow again. By doing this, we're making sure that you can see each meow distinctly. Now let's see if this works. And there we have it. Meow 3 times. Similarly, if you want to make our sprite say something forever, we can use the forever block. Instead of repeating 3 times, if I say forever, it's going to keep doing these 2 things until I click the red stop button right here, or just forever. It's going to go on. So this is just a little example. Obviously, we can't let this go on forever. All right, I'm going to stop it right here. Okay, so let's delete this now. Okay. Another feature of Scratch is that it also lets us create our own blocks, which help us abstract a certain piece of code and make it reusable. For example, we want our cat to be able to meow 3 times whenever it wants to, without having to write the same several lines of code again and again and again. For this, we can make a block called meow thrice, for example, and then define its function once. So we go to here to my blocks, and then we click make a block. And I'm going to call it meow thrice. All right. Okay. And so let's define meow thrice. What exactly do we want it to do? We want to go to control. We want it to repeat thrice. And we want it to say meow for 2 seconds and then wait for 1 second. All right. So this is what meow thrice looks like. We saw this in the previous example. All right, so now we can basically have all of this functionality by just dragging and dropping this one little block here. So what if I go to events and I click when green flag is clicked and I click meow thrice? It should have the same result as last time because you're now executing this block that you defined. And there we have it. We can also do math with our sprites and then use the conditional statements on it. Let's make our sprite add 2 numbers we give it and then say yay if that number is over 10 and no if the number is below 10. To do that, we first have to get rid of these because we don't want them anymore. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of this block. Delete block it is. All right, so let's get to events and we click in when green flag is clicked. We ask the user what is the first number and then we wait. Let's go to sensing. Click. What is the first number? And we wait. And the thing is, we have to store this number somewhere. So we're going to need a variable. A variable is simply something that stores a certain value you give it, so we can use it later on in the program. So in this case, we have to go to variables here and then put into action a variable called my variable, right? And then we go set my variable to the answer, right? So let's put in the answer thing here. All right. Then we have to ask again, what is the second number? Put in the ask block and we click, what is the second number? And we're going to wait for a bit until we get the answer back. So now we have to get another variable that stores the sum of both these things, right? Okay, so let's get a variable. Let's make a new variable this time and call it sum. And we're making this for all the sprites, even though we only have one here. Okay, so now we're going to get our set block and we're going to set sum to the sum of the first number we received and the second number we received. Yes? So let's go to operators and click addition. And we're going to set, and we know that our first number is stored in my variable. So we're going to go to my variable and put it inside this here, first one. And we're going to go my variable plus whatever the user answers for the second question. So all we can do is drag and drop the answer block right here. And that's it. So this gives us the sum of my variable and answer, which is the sum of the first number and the second number the user entered. But that's not what we want to do here. What we want to do is that if the sum is greater than 10, we're going to say yay. And if it's below 10, we're going to say no. Now we're going to have to add an if condition. An if condition only executes a piece of code if a certain condition is true. So let's do that here. We go to control and we put in our if else operator. And then we have to put in another operator here that compares two things, right? So you have to compare if sum is greater than 10. So let's put our greater than thing here, and we go back to our variables and we put in sum. So if sum is greater than 10, we're going to say yay. But if sum is not greater than 10, we're going to have to do something, right? So we're going to say no. All right. Let's click our green flag. What is our first number? I'm going to use 3. What is the second number? 12. So you know this is going to be greater than 10, so we should see yay. And we do. Let's try again. This time I'm going to put 3, and I'm going to put 4, which is going to yield 7, which is less than 10, so we should see no. There we have it. Scratch also lets us do a bunch of really cool things like these, like move the sprite around the screen, create multiple sprites, or even change backgrounds. However, I'm not going to go into them in a lot of detail as they're not particularly relevant to our study of Java and its workings. But if this is something you want to explore, please feel free to play around with the software and use the resources available on the internet as well. Finally, we're going to end with a little something I made a while back that implements all of these basic functions and concepts we just learned about. We encourage you to make your own Scratch projects and share them with us if you'd like. However, if you'd like to dive straight into Java, be sure to check out our next lesson. Okay, so let's see what this does. Okay, that's it. We have a few resources that you can use if you'd like to explore Scratch a little bit more. You can access Scratch at scratch.mit.edu, as we said before, and the link over here has a bunch of resources you can use. Thank you for joining us in today's lesson. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something. If you have any questions, comments, or any feedback at all, please contact us at detechtheoryco@gmail.com and visit our website, detechtheory.com. If you have Instagram or are willing to use it, we also have a page called @DeTech Theory. Well, that was it for today. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as watch the rest of the videos that we have in this series and more. Thank you and happy coding!